Welcome to With Tips with Learn World.
Today, we're jumping into something we all deal with every single day.
Money.
Exactly. Money. Everyone thinks about it, but, well, mastering it is another story, isn't it?
It really is.
So our mission here is to sift through a whole bunch of sources, personal stories, cultural observations, practical tips, even financial jargon.
I distill it all down.
Yeah, give you the essential nuggets, sort of a shortcut to being, genuinely informed about navigating the money world.
And we found some real aha moments in the material, haven't we? We're going from like your daily spending habits right up to global financial viewpoint.
We want to demystify it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Make it less overwhelming. There are some surprising facts in here about how it all works.
Okay, so let's dive in. The first big theme that came up everywhere was personal money habits, and specifically the struggle to save.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty universal.
It really is. You have good intentions, but then life happens, right? Maybe too much on takeout or little online purchases.
The small leaks that sink the ship, kind of.
Exactly. And our sources show people tackle this differently. Some are really into mobile apps, tracking every penny spent on groceries, transport.
Meticulously. While others, maybe surprisingly, still use like a notebook, old school but effective for them.
Right. And what about the approach to saving, not just tracking?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. We saw a clear contrast. There are folks who are incredibly disciplined. They save, say, 20% of their income right off the bat, the second it hits their account.
That pay yourself first thing.
Precisely. And the data suggests that really works for sustained saving. It's built in.
Versus the other way.
Which is saving, whatever's left at the end of the month.
Which often isn't much or anything.
Exactly. It sounds flexible, but often means saving takes a back seat. It seems less about pure willpower and more about setting up a system, making saving automatic.
That makes sense. Design over discipline sometimes. And that ties into another big tip we found, setting really clear financial goals.
Huge difference maker.
You're not just, I want to save more, but something specific, like I'm saving for that trip to Japan, or I need a $3,000 emergency fund. Why is that so powerful?
It's psychology, isn't it? It makes the abstract concrete. Saving feels like deprivation sometimes.
Right.
But saving for that specific flight or for that safety net, suddenly it has a purpose, an emotional hook. Our sources consistently showed that having that tangible goal just makes the discipline part easier. It's not just saving, it's like building towards something you actually want.
It clarifies the why behind it all. Makes perfect sense. And speaking of clarity, it's amazing how much our financial state is reflected in, well, the words we use.
Oh, definitely. The language, the idioms, they paint such a picture.
So let's unpack a few of those. What came up in the sources?
Well, to live paycheck to paycheck. That one's pretty vivid, right? Spending everything before the next payday. No cushion.
Yeah, stressful place to be.
And then to tighten your belt. You instantly get that image of cutting back, reducing spending because money's tight.
Right. Maybe skipping the coffees or packing lunches?
Exactly. And if something breaks the bank...
Means it costs way too much. More than you can afford.
Yeah, it could wipe you out. These phrases are shortcuts.
And there are more, aren't there? Classics like...
A penny saved is a penny earned.
The old Benjamin Franklin line. Basically saying saving is valuable in itself.
And money doesn't grow on trees.
Heard that one a few times growing up. A warning against wastefulness.
And then the state of your accounts. Being in the red.
Meaning you owe more than you have. Debt.
Versus being in the black.
Which is the goal. Having more money than you owe. A positive balance.
And you see these idioms everywhere. Daily chat, news reports, media. They're really baked into how we discuss money culturally.
Which brings up a really interesting point from the research. How culture shapes these conversations. Or lack thereof.
Oh, the differences are quite stark.
What did you find?
Well, take Japan. Generally talking about your salary, your personal finances. It's very private. It's just not done casually.
Really? That's so different from, say, the U.S.
Right. In the U.S., there seems to be more openness, especially maybe with friends, or if you're seeking specific financial advice, people might compare notes a bit more.
And then there's Brazil.
Yeah, quite the opposite end of the spectrum, it seems. Very normal to openly discuss prices, bargains you found, even saving percentages. It's just part of the conversation.
Wow, that's fascinating. But despite those cultural differences in talking about money, what about saving it? Like finding deals?
Oh, well, that seems pretty universal. Discounts, coupons, sales, cash back. Everyone seems to love the feeling of getting a good deal. That transcends culture.
The thrill of the hunt.
Exactly. But those underlying cultural norms about talking about money, they definitely shape behavior. How comfortable you are negotiating, how you perceive wealth. It's worth thinking about your own cultural background, how it might be influencing you.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving from habits and culture, let's talk about the tools, how we actually manage the money day to day. Things have changed so much.
Haven't they just?
I mean, I remember opening my first checking account. I was 16, got a debit card, cool, and they gave me this checkbook.
Huh. Did you ever use it?
I think maybe once,
Yeah.
if that. It felt almost like an antique even then.
Yeah, that really shows the shift.
Hmm.
Now, it's all about mobile banking apps, isn't it? The convenience is just incredible.
Totally. Checking your balance in line at the store,
Yep.
transferring money instantly.
Setting spending alerts, those are great for budgeting, by the way. Getting a notification if you're nearing a limit you set.
Keeps you honest. And it's not just the traditional banks anymore, right? Payment apps are huge.
Oh, yeah. PayPal, Venmo, Wise. Especially for international stuff or just splitting bills with friends. So easy.
And some apps even have those automatic savings features, like moving a few dollars to savings every week without you really noticing.
Those micro savings can actually add up quite a bit over time.
Right.
It's making saving effortless again.
Okay, while we're on banking, maybe we should quickly clarify some core terms, just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Good idea. Basic building blocks.
So your checking account, that's for everyday spending linked to your debit card, right?
Yep. High transaction volume, usually little to no interest earned.
And the savings account,
Hmm.
that's for, well, saving. Parking money you don't need right now.
And ideally earning some interest, which is basically the bank paying you a little bit for letting them hold your money, or conversely, what you pay when you borrow money.
Right. And transfer simply moving money between accounts, like checking to savings.
Usually instant these days with apps.
And the ATM, the automated teller machine, still needed sometimes for actual cash deposits or withdrawals.
Even in our digital world, yeah. And our sources had a nice little example tying it together.
Although, yeah.
Just imagining opening a savings account, linking it to your checking, and setting up an automatic transfer, say $100 a month.
And boom, you're using all those concepts, checking, savings, transfer, building that balance automatically.
Exactly. Simple but effective.
Okay, so simple saving is one thing. But what about bigger goals? We mentioned trips or emergency funds, but people also aim for buying a car, paying off debt.
Building an investment portfolio eventually.
Right, investing. That word can feel intimidating for a lot of people.
It can, yeah. But breaking it down helps. Let's define a few key terms that came up.
Okay. Like stock.
A stock is just a small piece of ownership in a company, like owning one tiny sliver of Apple or, any big corporation.
Got it. And risk.
Simply the chance that your investment could lose value. It's inherent in most investing, especially stocks. Higher potential reward often comes with higher risk.
Which is why people talk about a portfolio.
Exactly. That's just the collection of all your different investments. Maybe some stocks, maybe bonds, maybe other things.
Yeah.
The idea is diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket to manage that risk.
Spread it out.
Yep. And critically, thinking long term. Investing is generally not about getting rich quick. It's usually about letting your money grow over years, even decades, riding out the market's ups and downs.
That's a really important point. It's not gambling if you approach it strategically and for the long haul.
Right. It involves risk, for sure, but learning the basics, starting small, being patient, that can be a really smart way to grow wealth over time. Continuous learning is key there, too.
So we've covered a lot. Habits, culture, tools, goals, even a bit of investing. To kind of wrap up the practical side, what are the core actionable habits our sources point to for good financial health?
Based on everything we looked at, it really boils down to about 5 key things.
Okay, number 1.
Track your spending. You absolutely have to know where your money is actually going. Use an app, a notebook, whatever works. Just know the flow.
Number 2.
Set a budget. Plan ahead. Decide before the month starts how much you'll spend on different categories and how much you'll save. Give every dollar a job.
3.
Pay yourself first. We mentioned this. Automate your savings. Treat it like any other bill that has to be paid right when you get your income.
Crucial. Number 4.
Avoid impulse buying. Easier said than done, right? But one good trick is the 24-hour rule for bigger, non-essential purchases. Wait a day. See if you still want it just as much.
Good one. And the last one, number 5.
Learn continuously. Stay engaged. Read articles, listen to deep dives like this one, talk to people you trust. The financial world changes, so keep learning.
They seem like solid foundations.
They really are. And the powerful thing is, even small improvements in these habits, done consistently, can make a massive difference long term. It's the cumulative effect.
Little changes add up.
Absolutely, it builds momentum.
So today we really went across the map, didn't we? From the nitty-gritty of budgeting apps and saving methods.
To cultural attitudes about money, those interesting idioms.
Banking basics, digital payments, a first look at investing.
And wrapping up with those 5 core SMART habits.
Hopefully this gives you, our listener, a solid overview and some real takeaways.
And maybe something to think about as you go about your day. Here's a little prompt. How do you usually pay for things? Cash, card, your phone.
And maybe more importantly, why that method? Is it habit, convenience, something else?
Just notice your own patterns. And for a concrete next step, maybe try setting just one really simple money goal for the next month.
Like what?
Could be anything small. Save an extra $50, skip takeout for 1 week straight. Or maybe just meticulously track every single expense for 7 days.
It's one small thing.
Yeah, write it down. See how it feels, see what happens. It's about taking that first step.
Great challenge. We really hope you can take these insights and feel, a bit more confident, more empowered in your own financial life.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially with money.
Well said. Until next time, keep diving deep.